episode is this, Bethany?
18.
Holy sheesh. That's crazy.
18 episodes.
Cool.
You gotta have a 20th finale.
Yeah. That might be the world. I'm interviewing a World War II vet hopefully soon.
Dude, that is sick.
He stormed the beach. And
How old is he?
He's 100 now. 101, I think.
Oh my gosh.
He drives his own car, works out still.
Where'd you meet him?
I met him through Kieran, a friend of mine. So
Okay.
yeah. Anyway, welcome, howdy, lassies and lads, and everyone in between. I'm sure there's a lot of Frannies watching this. So
Yeah.
shout out to Franciscan. Welcome, Cello. Welcome
Thank
to
you.
episode 18. I don't know what we're gonna title this yet, but
It'll
probably
come
be
out.
something goofy. So yeah, Marcello. I mean, you've been a friend of mine for going on what, like 6 years now?
Yep.
That's crazy.
It's been a while.
It's
You
been.
were
that's been a
my
while.
age when you met me.
No. Damn. That's insane. It makes me feel like an old bag of dirt. So thank you. We're finally wearing the headphones in the studio, which makes me happy because no one likes to wear headphones. So,
I'm enjoying it.
hey, cheers. We're drinking my cousin Re's mead. Shout out to Re. We are drinking it in whiskey glasses, so you know what? That's all we got. But it is delicious, Re. So shout out to you. Thank you for giving me this.
We're not going to talk about what just happened.
No, we're not. So shut your mouth.
I think you should mention it.
No. All right. Moving on. Let's just say we didn't have a corkscrew or a bottle opener RE, so we figured out how to open the mead
The cork
hillbilly style, and the cork
came out.
Yeah, cork came out.
the opposite end. It's currently in the bottle.
Shh. You want to start in prayer?
Yeah, for sure.
Cool. Father, Son, Holy Spirit, amen. Come, Holy Spirit. Lord, we just ask you to fill this place with your presence. Fill this place with just our relationship with you, our love for you. Help it to resonate throughout this place, throughout our hearts as we listen to your words in our hearts and minds and speak it through our lips. That you might proclaim your truth and your wisdom through us during this episode. I thank you for just all the years I've known Marcello, all the friendship that I've been able to have with him, all the honest conversations, all the beautiful conversations, just everything in between. So I thank you very much for him, Lord, and for his willingness to be a part of this. And come on. Mother Mary, we ask for your intercession upon this episode as we pray. Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou among women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus.
Holy Mary, Mother of God, pray for us sinners now and at the hour of our death. Amen.
St. Padre Pio, pray for us. Father, Son, Holy Spirit. Apologies for the sniffles in advance. I was telling Marcello, I'm like, dude, I can't do this episode, man. I've been sniffling all day. And then he kind of bitched at me and was like, oh, I don't want to reschedule, man. And I'm
Yeah, for
like,
the 15th time.
no, not for the 15th
We have been trying to
time.
plan this for like a year.
A year?
Like 6 months since the end of last semester.
Gosh, it's going to be rough, man. Bethy, I might need some more tissues.
He just used a neti pot. I got to remember to look. I look here, right?
No, don't look at the cameras.
Oh,
You're
okay,
breaking the
okay,
wall.
okay.
No, I'm kidding. You can do whatever you want. I mean, just talk to me, man.
All right, man.
Talk to me. What's been going on in your life?
Junior
How's school going?
at Franciscan University of Steubenville. Studying psychology and minoring in theology. It's been incredible. It's a great place. Great Catholic community. Incredible professors. Growing psychology department. Shout out Bethany.
Yeah.
Bethany's in
Beth is in their master's
She's
program.
in the master's program. I've been in a relationship for like 7 months.
Nice.
Yeah.
Congrats.
Yeah.
Congrats. How is why theology for a minor? How does that correlate to your major?
I started off as theology, philosophy, and as you know, and that was kind of like where my passion was, and really just fell in love with just the like pursuit of truth and the study of truth. And through that process, I started to really fall in love with like John Paul II, theology of the body, and then in philosophy, phenomenology, the study like the phenomena of human experience, and
Kierkegaard and all that.
Yeah. He's a stud. And and I realized like my draw was becoming much more towards the experience of man and integrating these truths about man and God and reality like in my life practically and in others' lives practically. And then Dr. Bruinger, he's a beloved ex-professor at Franciscan University, psychologist. He like gave a lecture in one of my classes, and it was just like, this is it. This is the combination of theology and philosophy,
Yeah.
but integrated through psychology and understanding of the human person, understanding of God in this lens of like how we attach to caregivers, how we attach to our father and mother. And I was like, this is why, because it's like you can have the concept of like God is your father, and like you can study that theologically, but it's a whole other thing to study psychology and to learn about attachment styles, for example, and to like help someone heal in any ways their father's wounded them so that they can receive like our Heavenly Father's love. So it's kind of, yeah.
Do you want to integrate that into your like full-time mission, like after college, like figuring out, how to integrate prayer with like healing prayer with maybe healing as far as the mind and like, how's that done right now? Like, how would you do that?
How would I do that in my career? Or how do I do that?
Like, how do they
now?
teach you to do that, with patients and stuff, like with woundedness?
Yeah.
Do they integrate prayer into the teaching aspect of it at Franciscan, or they kind of just stick with the mind and the psychology of the mind?
I mean, it depends on the person. Some people are more like into coaching, which is like kind of more free reign to be doing like just things that you find like important that aren't necessarily therapy, like praying with them. But I think in my day to day, I mean, in every wound that we experience in our lives growing up, there's a belief embedded and about ourselves, about reality, about God. And so I think for me, it's like using psychology and using different tools it gives me to go through my past, to go through my life, and to see ways in which I've been wounded before. I mean, me and Max like had a conversion, so same week, and so before my conversion, and even after my conversion, and to see the things I began to believe about myself, about God and others, and to see those things, to hold the tension of them being there, and then it's almost like applying an ointment, like applying the ointment of the truth of the faith to those things. Because it's like if you're in the pews, for example, and the priest is like preaching, it's so easy to doze off and like not really care, really be present. But as soon as he starts like bringing you into your own need for God, when he's not just like God is your father, but he starts talking about all of the ways in which you might be deprived of like actual care and actual love and actual intimacy, whether it be with your wife, whether it be how you're loving your kids. Your ears perk up and you're like, oh, like I'm listening.
I can relate now.
And then he's like, and God is your father, and hits in a whole different way. And so I think for me, it's the knowing theology and philosophy. It's learning about my heart and others' hearts using psychology, and then almost like applying the ointment of the truth of theology and philosophy. But I think the former has to come first. I think if the latter comes first, it kind of hits a wall. But if the former comes first, it hits a wound that needs healing.
Yeah, that's beautiful, man. I feel like that's a lifelong journey too for a lot of people.
For sure.
So that's amazing. You mentioned our conversion story. You want to get into that?
I do, very much so.
Sure.
Are you going to get into it too?
Yeah, I can get into it. I just telling Marcello was like, you should share your conversion story. And I'm like, I don't really get a chance to do much of that sharing, so it'd be fun to do that with you because it's kind of a chiller episode. So your conversion story, let's get into that. Like,
all right, I'll tie you in, and then
we can tie. Yeah, we can work around it, but that's usually how we start podcasts. Is just start with childhood and then go through that a little bit, and kind of how you ended up in Pittsburgh, maybe.
Yeah, and then you'll come in.
Yeah, sure.
All right.
And we can go back and forth if you whatever.
For sure.
Yeah.
Cover those 2 weeks. So
what was it like growing up in Delco,
Delaware County. For those of you who don't know, Delaware County is right outside of Philadelphia. Some of my friends make fun of me and say you're not from Philly because I'm from Delco. It's kind of what you expect. I grew up in a suburban neighborhood. Grew up just kind of nominally Catholic. I mean, we're Italians in Philadelphia, so you're going to receive your sacraments. But I wasn't practicing. My family wasn't really practicing. But kind of the generic, like, go to Catholic school, receive your sacraments, go to, like, my whole life I've been in Catholic school. And that was kind of the the vibe there. And for a lot of people in Delco, I would say that no one's like, I've never came across someone in Delco that's a raging atheist and it's like rejects the faith. A lot of people have received their sacraments. So I'd say there's a influence of like cultural Catholicism. And then growing up, my family had the normal family, three sons and parents together, and just kind of suburban neighborhood, and kind of just like I'd say pursuing the American dream, not pursuing the Lord. So like the Lord was there insofar as he was culturally there, but in regards to what did we actually aspire to, I would say it was having that picture perfect family of, like just suburban white family, middle class, going to Catholic school, get a major in business and get a degree and do the same thing.
You were saying this is what you were aspiring to do, or what your parents were aspiring to do?
I'd say this was like my family, like just like
family
in general.
dynamic,
family dynamic, and so my oldest brother, who's really important in this story, his name's Luca. He was always like kind of the odd one out. He's an odd fella.
He is an odd fellow in the best way. Shout out Luca.
He's my best friend. I love him a lot. And
That's awesome.
He was kind of always the odd one out, and then my middle brother and I were making Luca sound so bad. He was the odd one out insofar as he wasn't as into the American dream, like getting good at sports.
Luca just beats to the tune of his own drum. He just kind of like he's just very individual. Like, that's what I love about Luca. So.
Yeah, and he wasn't really like ever into sports and into like the whole, because the idea, when I say American dream for someone my age, what I mean is like
women's sports, popularity.
Yeah,
popularity,
like good school, good grades, good SAT scores, you get into a good college, just kind of like that. And so me and my brother Mateo were very much so into that route. And growing up, I was the youngest, definitely like favored too much for my good. And just I loved attention. I loved everything that could offer me attention. And I would say around 6th grade, I started playing ice hockey. Before that, I was like decently innocent. 6th grade, started playing ice hockey, which I love ice hockey. But through that, I got really involved with older people because like it wasn't like my friends were now not only through my grade, but they were through the sport of ice hockey. So the 9th graders, 10th graders, even as a 6th grader, I was like hanging out with them. And that was when I really started to get involved in like the party scene. I know it's just crazy 6th grade, but it's sad nowadays. Like in the world, it's so young.
It's pretty normal.
Yeah. So 6th grade is when I really started to get involved. I'd say mainly with girls. I wasn't drinking yet, but in regards to the party scene of just like, getting with all the girls and like kind of just flaunting that and being proud of that. And since my idea of life was always like just attention seeking and pleasure, it was like this is attention. Like attention from girls is the best kind of attention. Like that's what I'm gonna seek. And so I began to 6th grade get really into ice hockey, really into the pursuit of girls, and then that continued on 6th, 7th, 8th grade. And I would say by the summer going 9th grade, I was like a self-proclaimed agnostic. And I think it's hard to live such a materialistic lifestyle for so long and to like still have a sense of anything transcendent. And I was just like hedonism was like, even at such a young age, like I definitely unknowingly subscribed to the philosophy of hedonism of just like pleasure is the only purpose in life. And like, that's what I'm going to pursue.
That's like a little bit like of Kant or
Kant?
Not Kant. What am I saying? Who's the guy, the famous philosopher who's always about, like, he talks about pleasure a lot and talks about, like, how pleasure is the main...
I don't know. I mean, a lot of atheists would say... like
main driver to...
Freud. That's
Freud, yeah.
Freud, oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's
So
like,
I don't know with Kant.
Freud, very much so. Like, all was about sexual pleasure for him. And...
well, real quick, you said 2 words that I want you to explain. So for one, obviously, we both know what it is, but you said... agnosticism.
Yep.
You pretty much mean like being indifferent.
Yeah, I would say like if someone said,
from your perspective in that moment, what do you mean?
If someone says, "Do you believe in God?" I would say, "I don't know." And if someone said, "Are you an atheist?" I would say, "I don't know." Just this limbo of like you don't know what's true, but you're definitely not going to say you believe in God, but you're also not confident enough in your atheism to say that he definitely doesn't exist. Because atheism itself is almost like
disproving God's
belief.
existence, just like theism is proving God's existence.
Exactly, and it's a belief system. Whereas I think agnosticism is almost a lack of belief.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
Yeah,
And then hedonistic, you were
Yeah.
just saying more for your own pleasure than anything else.
Yeah, just the idea that all is rooted. The whole purpose of life is pleasure, and we should live as pleasurable a life as we can. And that was definitely my idea, and began to just really, I saw that route being like through women, and I just like the culture of kind of just going around being with a bunch of different women, and not like at that age, not like sleeping around, but still, like getting with different girls.
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
All the stuff. And then, 8th grade. In this time, I should mention Luca, my oldest brother, when I was 10, so a little before this actually, he like, in a sense, studied all the religions. He's always been a smart guy. And he was like, Catholicism, Christianity is the true religion. And he was at 15. He said, if I don't start living this, then I'm lacking in integrity. And so he started to live it out. And my family, we would like make fun of him, mess with him, and he was kind of like the punching bag of the family with regards. He was doing something different, and it was like adamantly different. Of like, you guys should be going to mass every day or every Sunday. I'm going to be going to mass every Sunday, or like you guys should be saying that or doing that, and I'm going to stop doing that. And just like, and so of course my family naturally like gave him pushback for that for like 5 years. But he was always a close friend of mine, and in that time he grew more zealous in his faith. And in that time, I grew more zealous in the pursuit of pleasure, but we still stayed like close. And I think deep down, he helped me keep values that I wouldn't have otherwise kept. Like, for example, even though I was like an agnostic, I still saw a value to virginity, and I still saw a value to sex. And even though I was like doing everything else with a bunch of girls, the idea of sex like just seemed there was something sacred. I'm sure that I had this perception because things Luke had said to me over time, but I just knew there was something about it that was special. And and then going into 9th grade, getting into high school, I went to Salesianum. It's an all boys high school in Delaware.
What's it called?
Salesianum.
That's a crazy
It's a Salesian. It's like based off DeSales.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
And it's an all boys prep school, 1,000 guys, very like prestigious. A lot of guys go D1 for different sports there. Very sporty school. And so and there's like 2 or 3 girl schools for like that are almost like Sally's girl schools. And so getting there, I was like so excited. I was like, this is gonna be awesome. Like I can have the boys and like the brotherhood at school, and then like we have all these girls schools, and just totally, that's when I really got into like the actual party scene of like drinking all the time and being with friends that were doing drugs. Even though I was never doing drugs, and my friends offered me drugs a lot, but I was just like, no. That was kind of thing where I saw
you still had boundaries.
I still had some boundaries, and same thing with sex. Even though I took every opportunity I could to get with a girl, I still avoided that. And that year was but I had it all. Especially like that year, I was like, man, I'm in high school now. I'm a freshman, but I know a bunch of upperclassmen, and I have really good grades. I'm getting good at ice hockey, and I was like, and I have a bunch of girls, a bunch of friends. I was like, this is it.
The life.
It was the quote unquote life, and I was just like, I had a good friend group. We were very much so. Oh no, well I wouldn't say good, but we had a lot of sin involved, but we were also very much so just interested in like the adventurous, like young boy life, and I think a lot of kids are missing out on that nowadays. And so we got up to a lot of stuff, a lot of running from cops, a lot of different like jump in the back of trash trucks and like having them drive us places, just crazy stuff. And then that also followed over with like partying. It was like sneaking girls over, sneaking out, getting drunk, like doing stupid stuff while we're drunk. And I also didn't have a story I always tell to paint a picture of what I was like. I almost got jumped when I was down the beach by like 110 different people, a mob of people all at once, because I just like, I had some values, but I also didn't have others. And when it came to girls, I was just like I was just an ass, and I didn't care if a girl had a thing with a guy or something like that. Like if she was interested in like getting with me, then I was like, okay. Yeah. And so going down Seattle City, which is in Jersey Shore, it's like this week I would go. It was like the week for my friends and I. Like every year we look forward to this week, and it was the week that all the high schools surrounding us would go down Jersey Shore.
Yeah.
And it was just insane. I mean, just very like a lot of disordered stuff, but on the boardwalk, it was just like just fights, drugs, drinking, going on the beach, getting with girls, parties on the beach. Like it was just insane. It was like a club on the boardwalk for young kids. And I went down this year. This is going into my freshman year, and there was this girl who like I saw walking the boardwalk, and I was there when I was there. Like that was my main agenda, and it started to become my main agenda. It was just like I almost started to be unable to have fun unless I had a beer in my hand or like a girl with my arm around her. And so going down, I was just like, it was always the most exciting thing because there's beers and girls everywhere.
Yeah.
And so there's this one girl I saw who I was I thought to be very beautiful, and I wouldn't have put it that way like back then.
Sure.
I pointed her out to my guy friends, and some of them mentioned like, oh, well, there's this guy who was very popular at one of the local high schools that came down, like has a thing with her, and she's actually staying with him. And I was like, okay. And then so I didn't like chase after her. And then one day, like she came up to me, so she also didn't like have that value, and she asked me like if I wanted to get with her like on the beach. It was just a common thing. It's just like what people would do. It was
That's
just,
wild.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like 10th grade, 9th grade, and it's like, yeah. And so we went on the beach, and then that guy like found out and got all of his friends, like 100 and over 100 people trying to find me, walking up and down the boardwalk to jump me. And for over an hour, my phone was dead. My friends were freaking out, and everyone was trying to find me. And eventually, a lot of people gave up because they're like, I'm not wasting my night doing this. He found me on the beach, like came running at me. One of his friends held him back because my middle brother, Mateo, is a stud, and like,
oh, dude, yeah,
he's a big guy, and a lot of people knew about him. And he was a star lacrosse player at my high school. He was a senior at this point, or going to senior year, and this other high school knew about him, and so they were like, do not like go after him alone, because if you do, like his brother is going to target you. I was very small at this point. And so I got off, I like went to the Wawa, stole a water.
Oh my god.
And then I like came back on, and then I'm like undoing my bike, undoing my bike chain, and all these guys like point at me, and they're like, yo, there he is. And all these kids start running at me. And I had like a good like 50 feet, but I'm like undoing my bike chain. I can't get it undone. And I'm freaking out. And this girl grabs my arm. She's like, you got to get out of here. I was like, I know, get off of me. And I like I got undone, jumped on my bike, literally within like 5-10 feet, just made it onto the ramp. I almost got hit by a car, got out of there, and like that. And then I was like, there's a lot more to the story, but I normally tell that story to like kind of paint what my life was like, because I loved the adventurous aspect of that. So I did like that I almost got jumped by 100 people. I like that I also didn't get jumped by 100 people, and I love like the pursuit of the girl and everything like that. And that was just kind of what I lived for. And then that all of 9th grade, then going to 10th grade, similar thing. Was just nothing changed.
Yeah, was that pretty much your whole high school experience? Just that on repeat until
every weekend.
When did you meet me? What grade are you in?
So I met you the day after I converted. So, or did we meet before that? I think we met at Dobra.
Maybe.
Before Luca might have had us up.
Maybe.
We might have, but I know we officially met was the day after I converted. I call it a conversion because I was never practicing my faith, but you call it a reversion. And so that continued all through my freshman year. And then by 10th grade, I was just like had the quote unquote dream of everything that the high school life had to offer. And and I was just like unfulfilled. And I feel like a lot of my friends like they didn't necessarily have it yet, and so they still thought there was fulfillment for them. But I was getting to the point where I had it, and I was so empty. I had all the girls, I had all the popularity and the grades, and I was so empty. And I was just like, and I had no idea like why. There was not a clue.
Really?
I had no idea like sin actually mattered. I had no idea any of this. And it's interesting. I feel like my school either didn't teach it or I just tuned it out my whole life. And I had no idea why I was so unhappy. And I had Luca in my ear always trying to talk to me about like metaphysics. And I'd be like, what do you? I'm playing video games. Shut up. Stop trying to talk to me about metaphysics. And that never really like stuck, but there was definitely values that were planted in me. And then same week came, like that week. So this is going into my sophomore year. That summer, same beach week came. Was like, you know, same kind of vibe. Girls drinking, fights and stuff. And then I got back from the beach, and I was like, man, like what is going on? Like I had a thing with like the most popular girl at this local high school who's a few years older than me, and I thought, I mean, once I get this girl, once I get that girl, like I'll finally be fulfilled. And
Yeah,
I was just like,
chasing.
I was just like, oh my gosh, like I feel wretched, like I feel so empty and depressed. I wouldn't have known I was depressed then, but I definitely was. And then I got home from the beach one day, and then my brother Luca was taking a nap on the couch, and at this point he had come to Duquesne. He had met the community here in Pittsburgh, got involved with the charismatic renewal. Like Peter Malampoli was a big influencer in that for him, and convincing Luca that the charismatic was legit. And so Luca's taking a nap on the couch, and he had a dream, and he saw like a procession of all the popes. And he went up to his favorite pope, Pope Gregory the Great, and Pope Gregory the Great gave him a blessing and said, "Pray for Marcello." And then he woke up from his nap. He wasn't like sleeping for a night. He was just taking a nap on the couch. And I just got home from the beach. And should I add like how when Father Levi and like your brother and they all came.
They were all there.
So so
I was about to ask.
I gotta add that. That's important. So that week of the beach, Father Levi, he's
amazing priest,
incredible priest. He's been my spiritual director for 5 years. Peter Malampoli, Xavier Engel, Max's brother, Anthony Pampina, who else?
I don't know if anyone else. John Ferg.
I think John Ferg might have
John.
come by. Yeah, Father John. And so me and my buddies have never encountered cool Catholics, and we are this is our week at down the beach. Like again, like I said, this is the most idealized week, and we're down the beach, and then Luca, because basically my family would rent out this big Airbnb down the beach, and we'd all be allowed to bring as many friends as we wanted. So I'd bring my whole friend group, and Luca this year was like, I'm bringing a priest and a few guys that are just serving the priesthood. And we were like, bro, like, no shut up. All my friends.
You're probably so bad.
It was like a thing. Like me and my friends were all trying to like get my mom to like tell him like you can't bring a priest. And we were just like, no way you're bringing a priest. And then these guys all show up and they are just studs, way cooler than any of us. And destroying us in football on the beach, destroying us in spike ball on the beach, like destroying us in wrestling, just like all of them awesome guys. And also like on fire for the Lord. And we were like perplexed. We were like, and then Father Levi, I mean, just the most joyful, positive guy. Every one of my friends, even though some of them are atheists, never received the sacraments, loved Father Levi. They're like, this is the most wholesome dude we've ever met in our lives. And you just couldn't deny it. Like you couldn't deny the joy and love that they had. And we that week was just kind of like, they were a witness to us. I remember having a conversation with your brother, and dude, this hit me. I never told you this. Your brother and I were all on the balcony. We're all smoking cigars. I would get Nick sick like every night too. I thought I could smoke a cigar.
Nick sick is terrible, dude.
Horrible, dude.
Gosh.
And your brother was talking about living the life that I was currently living, and he was talking about being empty. And I was like, shit. Like what is? I was like, why is he talking about what I'm experiencing right now? And he's so joyful now. Like what is going on? Yeah. And then there's like definitely like seeds planted there for sure. Not enough for like me to convert like through witnessing all of them, but definitely enough for me to know that there's so much, like there's so much there.
There's hope to have fulfillment outside of sin.
Yeah, there's something appealing there. But I still didn't believe in God. I remember saying to your brother, I said to him, if God appeared to me, which was me indiscreetly saying, if God was real, I might be open to becoming a priest. I was like, I had this mindset of like, if this was true, then it would be everything, but it's not true. And so I'm not like going to change my life. And then my brother Luca forced me to go to confession with Father Levi that weekend. And so I was like, fine. And so I went to confession with Father Levi, and all I said, I literally was just like, blessed Father, I've sinned. It's been, whatever years since my last confession, and these are my sins. And I was just like, lust. That's all I said. I literally just said lust. And I had no idea, bro. And Father Levi was just like peering into my soul with his gaze. And I was just like,
Oh, it was face to face?
Yes.
Oh, it's dangerous to
dude.
follow Levi.
And he's
man.
just like gazing into my heart.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, like, yo, you want to say something? But I saw, he knew I didn't care. He knew that I had no plan in changing anything. And that's what his gaze showed me, like when he was looking at me. And then fast forward, that week ends.
Wait, so what happened in that confession? I mean,
It just ended. And Father Levi, like, wisely accepted that then was not the time to try and, like, press in. He knew my heart wasn't there. And so he went the normal route, as Father Levi does not normally do in confession, and just, like, concluded it. And then fast forward to that, Luca has that dream. He wakes up, and for the first time ever, he says, can I pray with you? And I remember, like, he would always try and talk to me about the faith and about metaphysics, which is stuff I love now. But then I was just like, what is metaphysics? What are you talking about? And but he said, can we pray together? And I was like, you never asked me to pray before. Sure. And so we went downstairs in my basement, and he talked to me a bit about the community and different things in which y'all, like, have experienced through the Holy Spirit, through the renewal. And it intrigued me, but it intrigued me, like, insofar as, like, an atheist witnessing a miracle is like, whoa, that's weird, but I don't believe.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what it was like, because I trusted Luca. And but we hadn't prayed yet. And he's like, all right, so, like, can I pray with you? And he explained very minimally. He just basically explained to me that it was possible for God to move in people's lives, which was like, God can actually work, like, concretely, and, like, that's, you don't just go to mass and say the rosary and around old ladies. Like, God can actually do stuff. Like, okay, that's interesting. And so, but then Luke was like, can we pray together? And I was like, sure. And then right before, this is Satan's last shot, because when we prayed together is when I had, like, my powerful experience of the Lord, which changed my life. This girl comes down the basement, uninvited. She was...
What?
Yeah.
Walked into your house?
She came with my middle brother's girlfriend, and I got with this girl, like, 2 weeks prior down the beach. She was, like, 3 years older, and she came down uninvited.
Holy,
like,
by herself?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
To get with me again. And she knew I was down the basement. And we literally, dude, like, as I was standing up to kneel and pray, she comes up to the door. And it was like, this is, like, the sin that you have, like, relished in your whole life. And this is where Satan has a stronghold, and Satan is using his last attempt, like, before you convert. And so, not at all, like, not at all this girl's, like, Satan, but God, like, Satan was definitely involved in this whole movement. And she came down the basement, and then I just had this grace, like, I looked at her, and I was just like, bluntly, just like, we're praying. And, like, dude, and then she just left. And it was just like, it's scary to think about how close
the fact that you said we're praying is cool too. It's like, not like, hey, not right now. It's like, hey, we're praying. Like, you made it clear your intentions for that moment. That's cool, man. Yeah. And then she just, like, was like, oh, okay, bye. And, like, left. And it was just like, and then it's just crazy. I was, like, a few feet away from potentially not converting. And so I knelt down, folded my hands, because that's what Catholics do. And Luca was praying over me pretty silently, just, like, normal, like, just simple, like, interceding and praying for me. And then all of a sudden, I was just, like, rocked. And, like, I didn't know anything about, like, resting in the spirit and all this stuff. Yeah.
And I fell forward, and I had become a bigger dude by this point. I had worked out a lot. And like, working out and hockey was, like, my life. And I fell over, and my hands were stuck under my chest. And I was like, Luca, I can't move my hands right now. But I was so, like, filled with joy that as I said it, I was, like, smiling, because it was, like, this part of my heart that I tried to fulfill with every single thing that, like, the world had to offer to someone my age. I mean, I wasn't in the whole business and power and money world yet, but everything the world had to offer for someone my age, I had. And I was so empty. And the Lord just, like, I knew someone was present in that moment, and that presence was what was filling my heart in that moment. And I knew, like, it was God, and I knew that there was nothing else I wanted, because I had tried everything else. And I'm like, Luca, I can't move right now, but, like, I like, didn't want to. I was so, like, at peace. And he's like, it's fine, just rest in it.
That's insane, dude.
And so,
did you get, like, baptism in the Spirit, like, kind of deal? Yeah.
Yeah, and I just had a really intense experience of God, like, just a flooding of the Holy Spirit. And then I laid there for 5 minutes, and then I felt able to move, and I got up, and I was literally just like, this is everything. I was like, like I said to your brother, like if God is real, it's everything. And I was like, so
man.
he is real, and this is everything.
Damn.
Yeah, and then we could get into. And then the next day I went to Pittsburgh.
That was the next day?
Yeah, yeah.
Holy crap, man. I didn't know. I didn't saw that's like the first time I heard the full story. But that's the next day you came to Pittsburgh and you met me. Mm-hmm. Holy crap.
Yeah. And it was also the day of my my confirmation saint's feast day.
Who is it?
St. Maximus the Confessor. I picked it because I like the name Maximus when I was a heathen in 6th grade. But
Maximilian's better. But it's all right.
I think Maximus is pretty cool because it's like gladiator. And,
yeah, that's true. That's a good point.
Yeah.
Yeah. Damn, man. So, yeah, I don't know. That's just incredible that it was the next day because I think we hit it off as soon as we met.
Yeah.
It was pretty, because you were still younger than me. You're my little brother's age, but I don't know, the fact that I think we connect so well because we were in the same path and like converted this, like literally kind of self-converted, I think, at the same time. Yeah. And then I think we were both very similar as far as personality. It's like, it's like we appreciate the craziness a little bit of life. And we appreciate that, like, you could be a crazy, fun Catholic, crazy, cool Catholic. Yeah. Or just a crazy, in love person with God, you know, in the same way you could be a crazy, like, sinner. So.
Yeah. And then we met, and you guys were all staying at the Opus Novum house in Pittsburgh.
The men's house?
Yeah, and you just moved in.
Yeah.
And
dude, I almost didn't move in there, man.
Yeah, that was like your like final like all right, this
well, yeah, my mom, like, on a side note, I was like working up north because I moved up there to meet a girl. What's that line from
Good Will Hunting?
Yeah.
Going to see a girl?
Going to see a girl, yeah. But it was bad. I moved up there to like work on a restaurant. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna move there to hang out with this girl, and then like,
wow,
literally got a job up 3 hours with like living by myself on a lake, which sounds awesome, but it was miserable. Like I'd go catfishing in the middle of the night, like every night, just sit there with a pole and fish.
This is over the summer.
Yeah,
this is going into your freshman year?
Going out of my freshman year into my sophomore year. That's when we met.
Dang, wow.
Yeah, 2021. So
yeah, I was 15. You were 19, I think.
No, 2020. Sorry. Yeah, but that was crazy, man. But I was like, Mom, I'm moving in with all my boys in this like 9-person suite. Like, I'm like, Mom, I'm doing it. That's where I'm living. She's like, no. She's like, you are not living there. And I'm like, well, it's not for you to decide. So,
yeah.
And I mean, yeah, it was kind of like, no, I'm living there. And she told me that afterwards, she was like, she prayed to Our Lady of Door of Knots straight for like 3 months for me to not live there. And I like, my buddy called me. He's like, hey, you going to live here? And I was like, maybe. Like, I had like this weird moment of like, I don't know if I want to live with you guys anymore, you know? And then I think Christian called me. He's like, hey, you want to live in the Opus Novum house? And I'm like, that sounds terrible. A bunch of holy Catholics, dudes. Yeah. It's like, gosh, man, can't bring over any girls. Like, can't drink. I'm not gonna have to be like a monk.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just said sure. I was like, yeah, and I got there and. Yeah, same kind of realization. I was like, oh, this is cool. You know, it's weird, and it was cool at the same time. But, yeah, thank God my mom prayed for that, because the power of prayer, man. Yeah. It's like a silent killer, you know?
Yeah. Our Lady of Endure Knots is
goated. She's awesome. She's amazing.
So good.
Yeah. But let's go into that, like, kind of that week with us, you know? Because I feel like I'm bringing you on partly just to speak to the younger generation, too. Which you did, I think, so powerfully through that testimony of your story and just, like, how you really believed in your heart that the best thing for you was self-pleasure and fulfillment, but how, again, you had all that and you were still, like, you were empty, completely empty, you know? Yeah. Were you, like, desperate to experience something different than the constant seeking of pleasure in yourself, and, like, what pushed you to be like, yeah, Luke, I'll let you pray over me? Like, what pushed you to, like, let that happen? You know, was it just like damn, I don't really know what else to do? Were you desperate at all, or were you just kind of like, whatever, you know?
There was definitely some desperation. I've always been like a hopeful guy, so even in that time period, I saw some hope that something would click, and I would start to find more fulfillment and meaning. I was starting to want to settle down into a relationship, because I hadn't dated. I was just just getting around with a lot of girls, and so I thought maybe that would be it. Like get into a nice intimate relationship, develop a loving loyalty, which I had no idea what that even meant.
Yeah,
and,
but you still want it. You know what I mean? Like there's still a goodness though.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just
you can always see the good, and I think like for example, I was able to see the good in your brother and his friends and Father Levi, but there's something about like seeing the good and living in it, and sometimes it's like, you know, I want my own good. There's good over here for me. I'm gonna find that thing that you guys have, and you're fulfilled and you're joyful. I'm gonna find it over here. And I think Luke asking me to pray, I definitely was at the point of like I don't know if I'm gonna find it here, and I'm just like I feel horrible, and my brother, I mean, he's asking me to pray. I've never done that before, and I think it's the kind of thing where I think a lot of us, even atheists, I forget there's a stat on like how much, I think it's like 60% of atheists pray.
What?
Yeah, and it's like about like in desperation.
Yeah.
Like it's like they're atheists, but there's still some form of like prayer that comes out when they're desperate, when they're suffering.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where it was. It was just like there's this desperation, and I was like, okay, like Lord, like if anything can help, anything can help, and if anything can be fulfilling and exciting, and like God actually moving in your life, then like let's see about it. And that's kind of where led me to say yes to start.
Damn. Yeah, I think my whole question with that was like, yeah, what pushed you to that, you know, to that limit, and I think you answered that. But even more so, you know, you like we met each other and stuff. Like, were you just at that point like on fire, ready to go? Like Luke, like that moment when Luca prayed over you. After that, was there any sort of temptation to go back into that life, or was it just kind of like, okay, I'm for it now? You know?
Yeah, there's definitely. I mean, even like throughout that week, I think it was like a purging week for the both of us. Of like, oh, we can't do this. Like, I can't look at that girl in the grocery store like that. I can't, you know, stuff like that. There was this like this week, I think that we both had of like, now we're going to try and be about this life. And I think after I had that experience with the Lord, I was like, I am about this life. Whatever that means, I'm about it. And then it's like, and I knew I started to get hit with temptations and stuff like that. And the Lord gave me a grace. Like, this is an absolute grace. Because I'm very all in person. And I think the Lord knew that.
Yeah.
The Lord knew that if I was like dabbling, that I wouldn't have stayed with him. So the Lord gave me a profound grace to like not fall into sexual sin since that day of like profound conversion with the Lord. And I think that, but there was still like temptation. There was still this like, I know I need to like cut this off. So I literally, like everyone in my area thought I was like weird as heck, but I unfollowed every girl on Instagram, like stopped Snapchatting every single girl on Snapchat.
Dang.
Just like, I was like, I need to cut this off. Like I need to.
Yeah.
I need to step back from it. And so I just like totally cut it off. I was fine being out with my friends if they were drinking and stuff. Like I've never been like had an addictive personality per se, and so I was just like, I'm just not going to drink. But with girls, like I knew I needed to like really take a step back. And
Did you have a fear of reputational damage, like that people would think of you differently?
I think like I was the worst out of my friends, and like they saw it too. They're like, why you, like they're just like, you know, just all kinds of stuff. Like, why can't you be, you know, content hanging out without a girl or without alcohol, or why you get with these girls that are way older than you and like stuff like that. Like they all were like frustrated. I don't know how much of it had to do with like any jealousy, but I think a lot of it had to do with like a lot of people had better values than I did, and I was like a degenerate, and I just like everything that was pleasurable was what I wanted. And so having this big aversion, my friends, I remember when I first got back from those 2 weeks in Pittsburgh, when I first saw my friend group, and they were all, I walked in the room because I had been like FaceTiming them, telling them what was happening and stuff, and they were all like dead quiet. They were like, what are we supposed to expect right now? And then I was like, yo, guys, I'm not a little like shit now. Like, I was like, I'm still
cool, yo.
Yeah, I'm still Marcello, and I never lost like you were saying, like we always had that adventurous spirit, and so I think my friends really like found it respectable. I think a lot of my friends were touched by it, moved to practice the faith more, and I think a lot of people don't know what happened to me, like a lot of girls, because I just totally cut them all off, and so like I will see girls to this day in Philly who think I'm a priest now. Like I'll meet them, they're like, "Aren't you a priest now?" Like, not how that works. Don't have a collar on, and no, I'm not a priest. And like, there's just like all these rumors that spread about like what happened to me. Like I just fell off the face of the earth, and like just like, and so, but the close friends found it like almost like I was more bearable.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's insane, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's cool that you were that witness for your friends too. You know, do you still talk to them?
Yeah. Yeah. I'm still close to a lot of those guys. Yeah, they're awesome.
That's awesome.
And it's beautiful is like they see in me and Luca, like if they're like struggling or different things like that, a lot of them will reach out and like it's almost like you have this sense of like this person who's chasing after a good life, like they can handle my shit. Like I can talk to them about my stuff and they can really handle it, hold me and talk with me about it. And so that's what's beautiful is like seeing ways in which people find you when you turn to the faith confidently, when you're not like squirmish about it, when you're confidently turning to the faith, people do find refuge in you. It doesn't matter if I was a sophomore in high school and like my buddies in high school, like they would talk to me of different things. I remember I was in the chapel one day and this guy I barely knew was talking to me about his grandmother who just passed away and like, cause everyone is struggling. Everyone is like, what is the point of life? What's the meaning here? And when they see someone who seems to have found it out, not like Catholics have it all found out. We do have the objective. We have the like, what is objective about the meaning of life? We have that, which is a gift. And it's like, they see that and they're like, this person can hold me. They can hold me in my struggles. I can talk to them about what I'm struggling with. They're like, I don't really know why they can, but like, I know they can.
Yeah, but it's like an innate quality that's displayed, I think, when someone is trying to live a virtuous life, that maybe there's someone who isn't living a virtuous life yet sees that display of God's grace and is like, wow, it's possible for me to be fulfilled without my own pride or something. Like, does that make sense? Like, kind of, I don't have to fulfill me, you know?
Yeah.
Like, God can fulfill me and I can feel loved, appreciated, wanted, you know, all these things that people have wounds with. Like, God just checks down the list of, like, what he can do, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of people want that. And also, a lot of people want what Catholics have in, like, good Catholic dating relationships, too. Like,
let's get into that, bro.
Yeah, we should. But, like, my point was, like...
Oh, I'm kidding.
I would love to.
No, I know. We can. Just, yeah.
Like, I mean, even like I was saying, like, as I start to, like, get into this culture of just, like, getting with girl after girl, it was, like, I started to be, like, maybe it'd be nice if I, like, got a nice Catholic, or not nice Catholic, if I got a nice relationship and, like, we loved each other.
Yeah.
Whatever that means. And, like, we have this innate draw to depth and meaning and, like, loyalty and substance. And so I was experiencing that. I think a lot of people do. And a lot of my buddies are in relationships that a lot of my buddies that never, that aren't in the faith. It's like there's a lot of struggles relationally, a lot of wounds coming up, a lot of trying to have the other be their God and fulfill them and have sex with the other, fulfill them. And it's like when they see like, whoa, like, Cello has this beautiful Catholic relationship with this woman. They don't sleep together. They're not sexually active. They're waiting for marriage, but yet they're so happy and loving. It's like,
and they're not weird.
Yeah, that's
a big deal.
That is a big thing. I think it's super important. I think that's why we really like loved each other when we first converted. Well, it was like this, like you were saying. It's like, oh, like he's not weird. He's so cool, and he has similar story, and it doesn't have to be some weird couple that's like super prudish and like has no affection, or they're just like overly affectionate in the public area, like a lot of PDA. I think there's this view of Catholics being like super odd relationally, super awkward, not knowing how to talk to a woman and like, or vice versa.
Yeah.
And so, I think it breaks a lot of those lies.
Yeah, that's beautiful, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, that first week was powerful though, man. I mean, I want to hit on that real quick. Just, in my own life too.
Let's hear about you.
Well, I tell people all the time, I like to keep my personal life not on the show. No, I'm kidding. Okay. I'm kidding, totally. I just don't get a chance to share. I mean, like, I was telling Bethany, the host brain is so different from the interviewee, like, from the guest brain. Yeah. Like, when someone asks me a question, I'm surprised. I'm like, whoa. And it's like a relief in a sense. I'm like, I can relax. But, that first week of even school, because we met before my school started and before your school started. We had like a week or two to just drive and chill.
Yep.
But my whole perception of you was just like you didn't feel younger to me. Mm-hmm. You felt on the same level spiritually of like, this guy isn't weird. He gets it. And he understands that fulfillment is possible with God. And I want to learn that with him, and I think that was a godsend for me, to really have someone with similar past. I mean, because it was like fresh for me. It was
Yeah,
fresh for you. Like it was like
For me.
super fresh
Yeah.
for me. I'm like, I'm living with all these guys.
Yeah.
Like, they're pretty cool, but I don't really know what I'm doing. You know, like I don't know why I'm here. I could be having a fun time in Southside, and going to all the frat parties and
I was with you. Like I don't know if you remember, like deleting things, unfollowing girls, unadding on Snapchat. I was like, oh, I don't want to unadd this one.
I don't remember that.
You're like, bro, come on. I just unadd. Like we were like in that like purging period, like that pruning period.
Yeah, I remember. I have a vivid memory of you riding a shopping, like an old woman shopping cart for the disabled people.
Yeah, and
that was bad.
Do you remember? No, but this is what I meant with the grocery stores. I remember I said something about a girl I saw walk by. I said something sexual about her, and it was like I was still figuring out like what I could do, what I can't do, and you're like, I don't think we should do that. I'm like, yeah, you're right. I don't think I should either. And we're like,
I don't remember any of this.
Yes, bro.
I believe you though.
We were like figuring it out,
yeah,
together, and like, yeah, you were like an older brother for me in that, and like it was just such a gift because I had Luca, but like we're so different, and it was different to have someone who's new in the faith with me, who's like me, and who I could like not feel shame around, but like I can figure everything out with.
It's a big point not to feel shameful. Yeah, I think that part of that conversion story from you and just the fact that brotherhood was such a powerful thing for us, like right when we met each other, I think is a point we should hit home for people listening, especially young dudes, because it's just, if you have someone who you can confide in and like really understand that you can share with because they know God, like your confidence doesn't come from just strictly them, but like they have a relationship with God, and therefore you can kind of share in that relationship and knowing that they're going to also be able to share with you. It's like a comforting thing.
Yeah.
Like God's taking care of it in the background, and you know that. So you're okay with sharing really intimate things, because I feel like being alone is the worst. Like being alone when you're like trying to figure out the faith or figure out your life or figure out fulfillment is just, it's so difficult, Yeah. It's so difficult.
Yeah, it's not, I mean, like, it's not good that man would be alone, and I think like there's something about, I mean, we think about sports too, and I love the analogy of like the faith is like this one big, whatever gladiatorial game, and when you enter, when you finally like fight the good fight and like run the good race, and you kind of like you enter the Coliseum surrounded by the saints all cheering for you, whatever it might be, and after having just fought this big battle. But when you think about sports, it's like we rally behind things when we have brothers with us, like getting hype, or it's like you're about to go play football, or like I played hockey, and it's like probably gonna get the shit beaten out of me at some point, but it's like I'm hyped to. I want to get the shit beaten out of me because I'm with my boys and we're gonna do it together. It's gonna be fun. Yeah. Whereas it's like when you're alone, it's like, oh, I gotta get the shit beaten out of me today. And it's like, and same thing. It's like Satan wants to beat the shit out of us, and like he always is. I mean, he was for us that week. Like there was a lot of temptations I was facing that time together, and there was something even like in the grocery store. It's like that's a great example where it's like you're like, no, I don't think we should do that. And it's like, okay, we together cannot do this, and this is gonna, because like we're made for love, we're made for reciprocity, we're made for intimacy, and so when I'm not only receiving intimacy, love, and reciprocity from the Lord, but I'm receiving it from a brother of mine who's helping me, like it's almost like a different way. I'm not just receiving it straight from the Lord. I need a mediator, and like I feel like your brothers can be that mediator for us, or sisters for a woman, and there's something very human about it. Like we need it, and we shouldn't think that we're beyond that, or we're beyond that because we have a good prayer life, or because we pray 4 rosaries a day. It's like, no, like this is something that, like, it's easy to hear my conversion and to be like, like, oh, I wish it was a one and done for me. I think like sometimes I'll tell my story. Yeah. And people are like, I wish it was a one and done for me too. And like, something that's true though is like something the Lord's been bringing up in prayer is like, I've been a beggar since that day. Like I had that conversion, and I was a beggar then. I needed God to come through and cook me like he did. And I've been a beggar since. And like this beautiful, I was discerning with the CFRs for like 8 months, and one of the CFRs, brother Angelo, him and I got like decently close, and I remember we were, and I mean the CFRs are just like beggars at their heart,
Yeah, they're
beggars at the
amazing.
core.
Yeah.
And him and I were walking and around campus at Franciscan, and then we went into the port, and I remember he sat down on the floor on the hard brick floor, and he like sat crisscross applesauce, and he like put his hands out, and he put his head down like this, and dude, like that was my prayer. I was like just looking at him was my adoration, because I was like, that is like a beggar's spirit. And like something that I've realized is like since then, like I've been a beggar, and like whether or not it's been like, oh, like me, yeah, like there was a great grace to overcome sexual sin since then, but like as though that's all there is. I mean, there's a constant struggle of like maintaining joy and not becoming bitter, and like not giving into the flip side of like being overly radical and becoming gossipy and becoming caught up in all this frivolous arguments about like, is this way of Catholicism better than this way, and like all these different things. It's like I've been a beggar since then, because I've been needing to say, like I have had to been saved like from those things like every day, every week, by brothers and by sisters and by mentors, you know, and by the Lord. And so I think it's like we're never not going to be on this like journey of begging. And I think that it's a beautiful act of begging and humility to say, I need brothers, like I need sisters. And because of that, I'm like going to press in, you know?
Yeah. And I need God, you know, like, yeah, to be that beggar on the side of the road, like constantly desire, because I think God desires us to want more of him every day, you know, and like no grace, like no God, you know, there's a reason we were going through this in philosophy class one time with Dr. Swindoll, but it was just like, he was kind of analyzing the Our Father, and he was just like, there's a reason why God said daily bread. Like he didn't say like, I'll give you bread. He was like specifically said daily bread, because, you know, in a relationship, to live in the present is hard, man. And it's such a gift to be able to, but I feel like God wants us to give us the grace for today and not for tomorrow, but like to every day have to go to him, beg for the grace, and expect to be given it for the sake of our relationship with him. So we know that he wants to give us grace, and not to just get grace and forget, but to get grace out of relationship because he loves us, you know, and to set that kind of proper relationship up with us, so he's not this genie in the bottle, you know, but he's a constant giver, and we are a constant receiver. And by teaching us that giving and receiving, it's teaching us how to be in heaven, you know, how to be with the Trinity, which is what we're called to. But
and it's like, I love the Catechism talks about like prayer is when two thirsts meet, and it's not one thirst. It's not like I'm the only one who needs to be thirsting for God's grace, and then prayer is going to happen. It's like, no, like God has been thirsting. Like God was thirsting when I was, you know, in elementary school, when I started playing ice hockey. He was like begging in a sense from his heart for me.
Yeah, Mother Teresa talks about like God's pining over us, like he pines for us.
And like he was genuinely pining for me, and it's just like, and that day my pining meant his, you know. And I think that's what prayer is. It's like every day that our pining would meet his, but we would acknowledge that he's thirsting, he's pining for us. We would sit in that, and then we would start to beg. We would start to pine for him, because how can you not? Like when like this God, this man, Jesus of Nazareth, the man of Galilee, who was an actual man who walked the road, you know, like walked the roads of Palestine, and who like loved the beggar, healed the leper, and was crucified for me. Like, how can I not be moved? Like when I really grasp that this real man, who's also God, is begging for me. And I think that's like, like you're saying, like it's an everyday thing. It's literally every day the conversion begins, you know? And I just want to put that out there, because I don't want it to sound like, you know, we had our conversion 5 years ago, and like, here we are.
No, dude, freaking every day is a freaking struggle, man, in a good way. It's like a holy, you know, it's a holy struggle. And I think that's what it's meant to be, you know, I think Catholicism, especially within manhood, it's just really teaching me how to live an uncomfortable life for Christ, but like be comfortable because we know that like it's for him, you know, like to have to go out of my way and try to pray every day. It's like, it's easier just to get in the car and go to work. It's easier to like not get out of bed and pray. It's like to do the things that are uncomfortable, or the things that are intentionally annoyances sometimes in my schedule. Like I feel like that's that's where you meet God. Like you purposely make time to orient yourself towards something other than yourself.
Yeah.
You know, because I think we're all so focused, especially young dudes. It's like there's so much worry. Like, you know, you're in college. Like, what am I going to do for my career? You know, how am I going to find purpose? You know, I want this, I want that. And those are all like good things, good struggles. But I think what brings, like, if you can focus on God, he'll help you with all those things.
Yeah.
But you look at some homeless people who are like the most joyous people ever, and you're like, man, like if a homeless person on the side of the street who doesn't even know what he's going to eat next can be fulfilled in God, and not have like, and not feel like worried, then someone like me or someone who's in college or whoever's listening to this, like you can also be fulfilled, you know?
Yeah.
So let's take a quick break. I'm going to blow my nose for like the 1,000th time. I'm so sorry, everyone. I hope Bethany's going to work some editing magic. Probably not, though. And then we're going to wash these out and move to some whiskey. That's okay. Cool.
Yes.
We are back, everyone. Okay, so welcome back, everyone. We're going to get into this whiskey here. Shout out to Charlie Burns again for this delicious single barrel Maker's Mark.
Thank you.
Yeah. You whiskey drinker at all? Do you like whiskey?
I'm not. I've been like...
Well, why am I wasting this good stuff on you then?
It's been like a sore spot for me because it's just like...
A sore spot?
You gotta be. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you got...
You gotta... As a young man, you just gotta enjoy whiskey, but
right.
I just can't. I struggle.
Well,
I do enjoy it. I think sometimes I just try and drink it too fast. Like, I just gotta sip.
no, this is a super nice whiskey, so sip it, you know? And it's this is neat. So it's neat means no ice or anything. So this is...
Okay.
You're drinking it the most straight up you can drink it.
Yeah.
But you'll really know if you like it or not. What number does it say on the bottle? On the side? On the right-hand side?
Well, it says proof 110.9 alcohol volume.
No. What? Pass me the bottle, please. This is actually gonna... I'm checking because... All right.
What?
Bottle 79 out of 252. So that bottle is one of 252 bottles that came from a single barrel.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So,
Dang.
and I was checking because with whiskey, when you have like the first 10 or 15, it's very kind of, it's pretty strong as far as alcohol taste. But then when you get lower in the number, or I guess higher in the numbers, it kind of becomes smoother, more sweet, more vanilla tasting.
Yeah.
So, cheers, man, to conversion. Sip it. Don't be slugging it down like a college kid that you are. Tough.
It's good. No, I like it.
You don't have to lie. I mean,
I'm not lying. The first sip I took hit, but I don't know why the sip was better. I think I had some saliva built up for that slip.
Okay.
That sip.
Okay.
Yeah, it was good.
good, man. So how's life been since since your reversion? You know, we kind of had that couple weeks, but I kind of want to get into how you were able to maintain your faith after that experience.
Yeah. My brother Luca was home for a year, like initially after my conversion, and he was discerning with the Carthusians at the time.
The Carthusians.
And he would pray for like 3 to 4 hours, like every day. And I couldn't drive yet. I was 15. So we'd go to mass together, daily mass. And he'd pray for like 3 hours. And I was like, what the frick am I doing in this church for 4 hours right now? And, but like I think there's no person that I'm more indebted to in my life as of now than Luca because of the habit of daily prayer that he taught me. And like, not just like 5 minutes here, like 5 minutes there. I mean, St. Francis de Sales in the introduction to devout life says like you should pray an hour every day, an hour of mental prayer every day. And I mean, at first I hated it, but like being in that church for that long, and I'm not saying you should pray for 3 to 4 hours. I don't pray for 3 to 4 hours in silence every day, but it's where I fell in love. I fell in love with the silence because I feel like when you're entering the communion with God, it is otherworldly, and like all this world has to offer is noise. It's noisy. It's like, it's just, and there's a lack of beauty in noise. It's just like when something's
In
so
your face,
noisy,
yeah.
it's in your face. You can't see a
Well,
painting.
it's uninvited, I feel like.
It is very much so uninvited, and you also can't see a painting when it's up against your face like this. You take a step back, and noise just like blaring, just like constantly, and we can't really like receive the beauty of life. And so I think in silence is where the Lord really like reoriented my heart and my mind, like psychologically for sure. I had to learn what it meant to not live a life purely about dopamine, and to live a life that like learn how to focus for a long period of time. And I think that's where I really fell in love with silent prayer. And that is what like carried me through those 5 years. Those 5 years or 3 years, I had 1 year with Luca, and then I had 2 years of being alone before I came to Franciscan. So not really a lot of community at all. That's absolutely necessary. Like having community is so helpful.
How did you deal with being alone?
I'd say like daily prayer. I mean, that was like, I had like a monk air. Like I had like a 3 year.
You did have a monk era. I thought for the longest time, I was like, that dude's about to be a monk, bro. I'm
Yeah.
going to lose him.
Yeah, I had like a 3 year monk air. For the first 2 years after my conversion, I swore I was going to become a monk, like a Benedictine or a CFR.
I remember that.
And but in that monk era, not just in regards to discernment, but monk era in regards to like how I was living. Like I would leave high school, 3:00, and then I would go straight to the chapel. I would pray for 2 hours. I'd do like 2 silent holy hours, and then I would come home and I would like read. I read some kind of work about the faith. I'd listen to Matt Fradd or like listen to some podcast that I found nourishing, and like. And I mean, spend time with my family, and like that was my life. Like it was just like constant prayer. And I do see a lack in my part. Like I definitely needed more community, and I wasn't mature in that, and like didn't see that as much. But I mean those silent hours of prayer. Like I would go to the Lord. Some days couldn't stop smiling. Other days I'm like crying, or maybe I'm alone in the chapel, and maybe I like punch in the seat, like just like suffering, you know. And it's like, but I went every day, and like. And that there's something about that, like every day, it compounds on itself, it builds on itself. And after a few years, it's like life is not life without this man in your life. Like, how the heck could I exist like otherwise? Like, I couldn't exist if I didn't spend time with this man, Jesus of Nazareth, every day. My life wouldn't make sense. It wouldn't feel like my life. And that is what like really was like, just like filled me up and like kept me with him. And it was also just time to reframe things, like, just committing to that time of prayer every day. Like I might be really suffering. I might be at high school. I might be in my head about all this crap. And then I get to the chapel and maybe I wrestle for the first, 30 minutes to an hour. And I'm just like, oh, like, all right, Lord, like, what do you want to say? Like, can you just hold me? Can we just be together? Like, I just want to be with you. I don't want to be thinking about all this crap. And, I think that was what kept me.
I feel like there's a big misconception though with prayer. Like, what you just said there, like, Lord, just hold me. I just want to be with you. You know, that's so vulnerable and that's so beautiful. And I feel like I had to learn that as being an achiever. Yeah. I had to learn a quick lesson that wasn't very quick, but to learn the lesson of I don't have to achieve prayer, or I don't have to achieve in front of God in prayer. Like, to let someone hold my heart, to let someone gaze upon me with love, and I don't have to do anything to earn it, was a profound mystery and a struggle, I think, for me. I don't know about you, but I think that's a struggle for a lot of men, you know? Like, you want to have some sort of transactional assessment and value to prayer with God or to relationship with God, and God won't do that. Yeah. You know?
Yeah, that's still a struggle of mine.
Yeah, same here.
And like I'm also a high achiever, and I definitely, the Lord uses what we give him for sure, and I think he absolutely used those hours I gave him.
Yeah.
And he taught me, like it was like maybe some of that time was coming from being a high achiever and like thinking I could achieve the spiritual life, but in that time, the Lord like wrote straight with crooked lines, and he taught me what it meant to become a beggar. And so it's like, I think learning to, every time I start prayer, like fall like on my face, like like kneel down, put my head to the ground, and just beg for like 5-10 minutes, like, Lord, I don't know how to pray. I do not know how to pray. Lord, I do not know how to pray. Just like, can you please teach me to pray? Like you have infallibly said so in scriptures. I don't know how to pray through St. Paul, so I don't. And so, can you come? Like, can you give me the grace to pray? And just like doing that every day, you become more of a beggar and less of an achiever. And I mean, it comes up, it still comes up continuously. But I mean, he's always like, just let me, like, just be my son. Like, I want you to hold me. And that's what I'm really begging for. I'm not trying to be some servile person before a master. I'm really begging for the grace to live out the life of a son, And I think the whole like renewal in like manhood and masculinity is this journey towards like being a proper son, like in relationship with the Father. And like part of that is just this beautiful dependence and this neediness. Like, men do not like being needy.
No.
Like men hate being needy. Men want to be able to do everything. Men want to be able to gird up their loins and like get shit done. And so it's like to learn to be needy and vulnerable. And some saints write about being in the feminine before God. I mean, like, that is just like, it takes decades,
Yeah.
And so I'm definitely still in that journey. But I think the Lord every day just like shows me.
I remember one time, I totally agree with that. That was beautiful. I remember one time Luca was like, Max, like, you got to be feminine in front of God. Like, I was like, what the hell are you talking about, Luca? I'm not feminine. I was like, do you see me? Do you see that I'm a male? Like, I'm not a female. I'm not going to be a female in front of God. Like, what the hell are you talking about? And he was like, no, like, your soul is feminine in front of God. And I'm like, no, Luca. I'm like, cut that shit out. I'm not feminine. And this was like very early in my conversion. But he kind of explained to me slowly, like, no, like, it's okay to be to desire to be wanted in front of your Father, and to like let him. You think about like the prodigal son. Like, I see myself in both of those sons sometimes. It's like wanting to. Sorry, I got to sneeze. It's not gonna come out.
Shines of light in your eyes.
No, but I see like, man, Lord, I'm running to you out of like my brokenness, or I'm not running to you out of my pride. And I think that I either don't deserve you, or I deserve to be selfish, And I think God is always just so patient, but I think I've learned to be honest with him, especially in prayer, like to be honest and vulnerable and brutally honest as myself, like sometimes crashing out on God.
Yeah.
Like, I learned this crashing out word recently from my brother.
You recently learned that?
Dude, like the last 2 months, dude.
I think it's great. I love it. I'm crashing out right now.
I'm gonna crash out.
I say bugging out. I'm bugging out.
Bugging out? Bugging out means like leaving, though.
No. I'm bugging out. Freaking out. It means I'm freaking out.
Oh, gosh.
Like, you just bugged out, bro.
Dude, I've been holding that in for an hour. No, bug out. If Bethany had Wi-Fi, she can look up the term bug out. It means like to leave. At least in military terms, it means leave.
Oh, well, I'm not talking military. I'm talking
Marcello.
Delco.
Anyway, my whole point was...
to flee or retreat suddenly, often due to panic or a dangerous situation. It can also mean to act erratically or strangely, such as freaking out.
That's what I'm getting at.
Hey, cheers to that.
Freaking out.
We're both right. I'm more right. But my whole point with that was like, Lord, if I can't be honest with you about how I'm feeling, which is in a sense to be open to my emotions is what I associated with like femininity in prayer. Like, Lord, if I'm not open to letting you love me, if I'm not open to receiving you honestly, then why am I here? And that took a lot of time for me as a guy to figure out God doesn't want anything but me. Like, he doesn't want anything from me but me. Mm-hmm. And he's much more patient than I am. Like, he's willing to wait, or sometimes I wasn't. So
yeah, I think also, like, I mean, because in a sense, like, I think the sexual act like beautifully communicates the masculine and feminine identity. And in the feminine identity, like as revealed in the sexual act, it's like this utter vulnerable receptivity.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's just like total vulnerability, total receptivity, and I think that's like what that idea of like man's soul is in the feminine before God is really. It's in the feminine action of vulnerability and receptivity, like this receptivity of like we were talking about earlier. Like I can't do anything, and I just need you to come. And I need to learn what it means to be needy, like before you. And I've read a Carthusian monk who wrote about like girls can actually. He said he thinks girls can grow in prayer girls can grow in prayer quicker because they're more naturally in the receptive. They're more used to being in the receptive. And I think that's kind of like because I mean, we also need to be we shouldn't become squirmish emasculine Christians.
But there's a vulnerability that is super special and I think sacred. There's a sacred point to a man's vulnerability, like that should be treasured.
Yeah.
Because of the fact that we're called to a lot of the times like protect, defend, and to not be vulnerable in certain situations because for the sake of other people's vulnerability, know. But I think it's super important to point that out that, men being vulnerable, rightly ordered vulnerability is to be treasured in masculinity because it's a profound grace and gift from God that only your wife knows something. Like I'm sure like your girlfriend knows a lot about you that most people don't know, or you share moments where you're vulnerable that most people wouldn't ever see because it's important for her to see that and for you to be received in that and vice versa,
Yeah.
Is that making sense? Like it's just, it's an important grace. I think that men often desire, but don't know how to express.
Yeah. It's like, and like kind of some psychology, like with the, like, so there's this bonding hormone, like a lot of people heard of called oxytocin and,
good old oxytocin.
Yeah, it's so good. I love oxytocin. And yeah, and I think that when we feel secure in our vulnerability, and we feel like we have a secure attachment with. Sorry, Max is blowing his nose right now.
Wait. All right, you're good.
So, I think like when we feel secure enough to be vulnerable, and like we feel safe, I think is a better word. When we feel safe with another. And we are vulnerable, and we're received in that vulnerability and held. It like releases oxytocin, which is a binding hormone. It binds us to another, it makes us feel connected, and I think that's what's like. I think so many men in relationship with God. I actually don't know the psychology behind that. Like, if any oxytocin can be released if we're like relating to God in a particular way.
I was just about to say I think it definitely does.
Yeah, potentially. I just don't know. Yeah, there's no physicality, but like
no, but it doesn't need to be there.
Yeah. No, I'm sure there's like
there is physicality when you receive the Eucharist.
Yeah.
So
yeah, but my point is like when we're not gonna connect to another and like begin to develop a relationship with them until we start to share in vulnerability and to be received in a safe way. And so for a while, a lot of people are living relationships of dopamine, and so it's like for the first 5 to 7 months in a man's relationship. The novelty of the woman provides him a lot of dopamine.
Okay, so, explain that.
So, explain what part of
novelty of the. What do you mean by novelty of the woman?
The mystery, the thing that I haven't won over. Sorry, the thing sounds so bad, but like the thing about her I haven't won over yet. This thing that I don't know about her. The fact that like I still have to pursue her. She's ominous and like and that she's almost like this treasure, right? And for a while, I'm sure it's longer if you're having sex, if you're sexually active, but for like 5 to 7 months. You could be living in a relationship thinking you're so close, but really what you could be experiencing is dopamine. It's just like these constant kicks of dopamine when you get a kiss from her, when you hold her hand, when you hug her, and you feel quote unquote so connected. But in reality, you're just feeling dopamine, whereas oxytocin is the actual binding chemical. And so when we experience oxytocin gets released when we relate to another, when we connect to another in a safe, like we feel safe enough to do it, and when we do it. And the more we do that, there's this like developing relationality, like this depth of connection, And that's what you actually see in like long-term relationships is like they go beyond the pursuit-based sexuality, the pursuit-based relationship, and they enter more into this loyal, loving embrace that binds them in this beautiful way that man's made
Yeah,
to be
and then,
bound.
but I feel like, you know, I agree with you, but also a point of like, I'm sure that the expressions of love, like, you know, whatever that is, kissing or holding hands, like that aids in that is being built upon that oxytocin release, or that actually intimate, you know, necessary intimacy that you build over a long period of time, which I would honestly just call trust.
Yeah. Well,
You
no,
know?
it releases.
That's what I would call it.
Yeah, like, well, kissing and hugging and eventually marriage sex does release oxytocin, but it only releases oxytocin when there's already that underlying layer of safe connection.
Yeah, yeah.
And so it's beautiful because it's a snowball effect. It's like we develop this safe connection with each other in relationship. So like whether it be with me with my girlfriend through like, you know, conversations, going out on dates and like, you know, going out on picnics or whatever, having a glass of wine at night and talking about our days and like staying connected, like conversationally. And I feel safe enough to be vulnerable with her. She feels safe enough to be vulnerable with me. And so that's binding us and that's like connecting us. And then it's like if we kiss or if we cuddle or whatever it might be, then now that there's already that layer of safety and like vulnerable connection, then those things, I mean, they release so much oxytocin. But you think about it, like that's why, like, I mean, I don't want to appeal to like, just it's not just because you have sex that you're gonna feel great. I mean, think about how many people tell stories about having sex or about whatever it might be and just feeling like shit, feeling horrible, not feeling connected to them at all. It's because there isn't any of that underlying surface of safety.
Yeah, you're building your house on sand, bro.
Exactly. Yeah. So super cool. Super.
I didn't know that. That's
Yeah.
really cool. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
Your education is well spent.
It's paying off. Yeah.
Well, the more you know.
Franny.
Hey, Franciscan's a great school, but yeah, man, I feel like that's just, you know, relationships are so dangerous, and I feel like they're meant to be dangerous, you know, and I feel like as a guy, it's like attractive, like that dangerous element of relationship is something that I feel like shouldn't be feared. It should just be that it helps you to reverence what a relationship really is meant to be, you know.
Yeah.
And I think helps you equate the proper boundaries too.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. What do you mean by dangerous? Do you mean like the dangerousness of love? Like in the sense that you're vulnerable?
Yeah. Yeah. Like the fact of like, I think about the dangerous, like the saints and how dangerous they were simply because like their actions often, like these, all the martyrs, like their actions led to death, like that kind of dangerous. Like you're willing to put it all on the line for someone.
Yeah.
You're willing to put it all on the line for Christ because that's what he did for you.
Yeah.
You know, and you're in marriage, for example, you're willing to emulate that self-sacrificial love that Christ emulated on the cross, and know that he's calling you to carry your cross in the most in as real of a way as he did on Calvary before he got murdered. You know, like that's that thought and that process of thinking. Holiness, in my mind, is the most badass thing you could do with your life.
Yeah.
Like, it's badass to the bone, man.
Yeah.
Like, to be holy and to strive for holiness. Like, people talk about, you know, like, Navy SEALs and the military. I'm like, you want to be a spiritual like, a warrior? Like, and you even talk about Navy SEALs who find their faith. They're like, this is incredible. Like, they are inspired by it. They're like, it's so incredible to see people witness, like, just witnesses of the faith, people who have lived really cool lives, because they're like, this is much harder and much more active and much more real than anything I've ever done in my life, you know? And I don't know, it's just cool to me that, hey, you want to really like be active and do something dangerous, try to be a practicing Catholic in a world like this, you know? And like try to share your faith with others and be willing to get broken down and even killed for it, you know?
Yeah, I love what like Jordan Peterson talks about, like masculinity being dangerous. Like it should be dangerous, but it should be dangerous that's tamed. And like the some people talk about like you don't want to be it's a horrible thing to be a gardener in war, but it's a beautiful thing to be a warrior in a garden. And so like there's this like reality in which it's like we should have this danger to us as men, and we should have this life of discomfort, and like the pursuit of holiness is extremely uncomfortable, and like we should have this distress tolerance. We should have this ability to to experience distress and discomfort and maintain stability and like protection for those around us. And I think that there's like this distortion nowadays in this view of masculinity, because it's this idea of like, either I need to be super dangerous, some badass like Navy SEAL, or like Andrew Tate, that's not a badass, but who's just like, you know, whatever, like I'm just gonna be a total like macho man
Tool.
Yeah, like a tool and macho man.
Yeah.
Or it's like I need to be very gentle and empathetic and have no sense of dangerousness to me because I don't want to scare away women. And it's like, no, like Jordan Peterson talks about The Beauty and the Beast, which is like one of me and my girlfriend's favorite movies, and because, which sounds super feminine to me, but
no, The Beauty and the Beast is a freaking bop, dude. I freaking love
so
Beauty
good.
and the Beast,
But it's like beautiful. It's like the beauty, like, so he is dangerous, and like it's not a bad thing that he's dangerous,
Yeah.
but she and her beauty like draws him to herself, and almost in a sense like her beauty itself teaches him how to tame his dangerousness. And so it's like men should be dangerous, men should be strong, men should know what it means to be uncomfortable, and I think holiness is a workshop for that. And it's like, and then the beautiful thing is the beauty of the woman tames that. And so it's like they are drawn outside themselves to be gentle and to be loving, but they're not like purely gentle and loving, you know. And I think we have this distortion, especially amongst Catholics, I think especially in this idea of like, as a man I just have to be the nice guy, you know. I just got to be this like this nice guy, this nice church goer, you know, whatever, not adventurous. I got to be rocking with the old ladies in the back of the church praying the rosary. I can't be wild or anything like that. And I think what we saw when we converted in each other and others is like the beauty of the dangerous masculinity that knows what it means to be tamed and gentle in holiness. You know?
Yeah, I think because we lived a life of craziness, like of pure danger, without any guidance or any. I would call it reckless abandon in an unordered way, like, you know, just doing stupid stuff without any concern for anyone else. But I feel like I am thankful for those moments because.
Same, yeah.
I let God tame me, not tame, but like in a way tame me, like let God kind of mold me like clay into what he's calling me to, and still doing that rather than, you know, try to, like, it's hard. I feel like it was easier in a way to mold me, rather than like, I was just naturally kind of crazy.
Yeah.
You know, and that's what I'm thankful for that. But, that's just me, you know?
Yeah, same. I'm very thankful for that.
I don't really know. Yeah. And I feel like, you know, my good buddy Joe Jacobs said this. He was, and I've said this before in the podcast, and it holds true, I think, in the perspective of masculinity. But he said, like, you know, the paralytic in the wheelchair is just as could you be just as masculine as the Navy SEAL on SEAL Team 6? Like that, like that sort of, it's a misconception of action and how God says, like, he looks at the heart, you know? Is what truly matters. And like, I think of King David, like, you know, a man after his own heart. Like, that's what he's calling men to be. He's like, hey, like, take up your cross and follow me and do what I did, you know, be the lion, be the lamb, you know, and trust me that I'll show you when to be one, you know, when to be one or the other, or when to just, like, you'll have both, you know?
Yeah.
So
I think it makes an amazing man in a relationship. I don't know if you want to talk about relationships at all.
We
like,
can,
and like dating stuff, but yeah, I think if you're a man who knows how to like be that stable, protecting presence for the woman, and she knows you're badass. Like I love like wholesome Navy SEALs that like come to the faith and stuff. I mean, because they're awesome. They're so nice.
they're so nice.
And they're so gentle. But their wife knows they can kill any person that walks past them. You know? And it's like that. I think that's just like, when you're like, that's what a woman wants. A woman doesn't want the nice guy. Like, that's why there's this weird idea. Like, that's why everyone thinks it's so weird women pursue the bad guy. But it's actually not. It makes sense because there's this instinctual draw to the bad guy can bring me on an adventure. The bad guy is strong. The bad guy, you know, even though he might hurt me, there's some riskiness there. But it's like ultimately he has this part of masculinity I want, and I think in relationships flourish when we're both living out the identity that we're called to is in the masculine and feminine genius. But when we do so, and then we come together in relationship, and it's like this like so it's almost like you see this whole new side of femininity and masculinity. It's like the Navy SEAL who's a badass and just, sniped 6 people, comes home and now he's just like throwing his daughter in the air and kissing his wife. It's like what? Like if you were in the lens of a sniper, you could have never thought that man could also be like that,
Yeah. And I think, they're listening to a lot of those episodes. I think we have to keep in mind too that those guys often are super, super wounded dudes.
Yeah, for sure.
And they talk about like, they're not very prideful guys. They're like, I did what we had to do. And like, that was my calling. But, they don't gloat about it. They're not like, I was this great guy who killed all these dudes. It was like, no, like I had to pay for that.
Yeah.
I had to pay for that with my relationship with my wife. Like the amount of PTSD I had, the amount of stuff I had to go through, the amount of like my buddies that, harmed themselves or like died of self-harm after the war. Like that's, people love to talk about, like, oh, those guys are so badass. Those guys are so cool. It's like, yeah, but they're the first ones to tell you like the price for that. Yeah. The price that they have to pay for that,
Yeah, no,
and it's just,
totally
that makes me, that to me, I'm like, it's so admirable to hear that from people like that, everyone thinks we're so badass, but no one knows the price. No one knows the wounds that made us that way, Yeah. So. But yeah, I totally agree with you in the fact of, I think, to be a man is to have a good mix of the lion and the lamb, and I think a good woman helps guide that. Yeah. Yeah. So.
Sure.
How's your relationship been?
It's been great. Like 7 months been together.
What have you learned? I don't want to get into super specifics just out of respect for your relationship, but I want to ask like what lessons have you learned, in this past 7 months? I mean, mostly about yourself.
Yeah, I think that the first thing that comes to mind is like these last 7 months, independent of my relationship, like I've like suffered some of the most I ever have, and like personally, and the way in which my girlfriend has patiently, consistently every day, same woman, same loving woman showing up to me, loved me and like been with me when like I didn't feel like I could be myself or be with myself, that has taught me like so much about what it means to actually love. And it's like put before me how selfish I am. Like I'm just like, damn, like I just want to do, like I might do a loving thing, but it's low key because I wanted to do it.
Yeah.
It's like, I might go get my girlfriend flowers and, take her on this awesome date. But it's like, that was exciting. I wanted to do that. Mm-hmm. But it's like to see the beauty of how she has like, there's this beautiful balance of like I always say like sweet and wild. Like she knows how to have fun. She knows to be
wildflower,
be crazy. Yeah. But she also knows how to be very sweet and loving. And she also has a beautiful balance of like independence and dependence. And like knowing how to be dependent on me, but also knowing how to hold herself in independence.
Beautiful.
And like in my suffering and the way in which she's loved me and that I've learned like just an insane amount about like what it means to actually be patient and love. Like it's as a man, I naturally want to fix so much. Like, like if my girlfriend's struggling or she's upset about whatever it might be, I want to, I want to solve it. I want to fix it. If she's sharing her problems, like, all right, well, and I sometimes with like studying psychology too, I'm like, I'm asking all the questions.
Trying
like,
to psychoanalyze her.
Yeah.
No.
Like, it's this temptation to be like asking questions to like, but like there's like a bunch of studying behind that question I just asked. Like I have an agenda there, and like what she showed me has just been like what it means to actually remain with someone with no agenda. Like you just patiently and consistently show up and like love them and are present to them, and just like you just will their good and want them to be as they are. Like there's no I like in my struggles and like when I would like talk with her or whatever it might be and like be vulnerable with her, there was just there's never like say I was really struggling and then like I'm doing good one week and then like tomorrow the next day I'm struggling again. There's not this like again, just like consistent love the whole time, and so now I'm doing a lot better, and it's like if she's ever struggling, it's like so beautiful because it's like I know I'm like I'll be loving her and I'm like, wow, like she and my struggle and how she loved me has taught me how to actually love her well in her struggle, and so I'd say like that's the number one thing that has just been like so beautiful about my relationship with her. And
patience.
Patience, sacrificial love.
Beautiful, man. You said that this year's been hard for you. What do you mean by that? What's been hard?
I'd say just like a lot of different struggles with my back's itchy. A lot of different struggles with anxiety throughout the last, like, I'd say like mainly over the summer. I did mission work over the summer, just like insanely high pace, high intensity, with kids, 100 and I don't know the math, but 22 and a half hours a day. So like sleep in the same place, put them to sleep, wake them up with them incessantly throughout the whole entire day, except for an hour meeting and then half an hour of prayer. And so, and we have 1 day off a week. And so that was like for 11 weeks. And just, I think, a lot of ruminating, a lot of like, I mean, I love to talk about this. I think that it's easy to think, it's like we as Catholics, that are pursuing these good habits should have everything figured out. And like, we shouldn't have any struggles like mentally. And I realized a lot in the last 8 months of like, I would get anxious about stuff over the last 5 years. And then I would just like resolve like the thing I was anxious about. I would just like figure it out. Like whatever it might be, the thing would pass or I would figure it out and understand it. And then like, I'd be able to not be anxious, but I never addressed like the thought patterns that I had as like I was thinking like an orphan. I was thinking like someone who didn't have a father. And I think that really caught up to me over the summer. Like not just let me resolve this object, but rather it's like, how am I like thinking like an orphan? The way I'm thinking, it was causing me a lot of anxiety, the way I was ruminating and like what if hypotheticals about the future, kind of like you're talking about earlier. It's like in your 20s, it's so easy to be thinking about the future, thinking about, how am I going to provide? What am I going to do? What am I like this thing? Like I have to do this thing, but it's scary that I have to do that. Like different things like that. And I think there's a lot of like what if rumination and like negative thought patterns and believing my thoughts. Like I think it's a disordered relationship with my thoughts and feelings. Like thinking that all my thoughts, all my feelings were accurate. And so
sometimes your feelings give validation to your thoughts.
Yeah, exactly.
When they're not, like feelings are very unreliable at times.
Yeah, and that was just a lot of emotional reasoning. It's like feel feelings and think they're indicators of the future and the like and associate with them. And so I think this summer has been like this over the summer, which I like in the relationship with and just like really being beaten down like by anxiety and like not being able to show up fully as myself with my girlfriend and other people as I wanted. And I think it's been this like journey of renewal of the mind, like the Lord kind of being like, okay, like I think you're at this point with me now where like I'm not just gonna give you the answer to the thing that's causing you strain, but I'm actually gonna like we're gonna figure out how you can properly address your like the way in which your mindset is thinking like an orphan. So renewal of the mind, like big renewal.
Romans
of the mind.
12 or something like that.
Yeah, like renewal of the mind and the Lord, which is a ruthless process. Because I mean, it's one thing to stop with the fleshly sins, but it's a whole other thing to think consistently like a son. And so that journey's been a long one. I don't know if you have any questions about it, but that's kind of the general.
Yeah, you said think like a son.
Yeah.
How's that been difficult?
I think for me, I like to like rehearse and like hypothesize. Like I don't like to, I subconsciously do rehearse and like hypothesize worst case scenarios and then like, but that they're in the future and then like try and resolve them in the present, which is not possible. And it's like, Father, I don't trust you, so I'm going to take matters in my own hands. I'm going to frivolously and vainly rehearse this future thing and the worst case occurrence and make sure that I have it all figured out. And it's like all that is at the core rooted in this belief that I'm not safe. Like if I was safe, I don't have to do that, And it's like the fact that the Father is like really actually present to me right now and in the future and like in my thoughts, my feelings, like it means I am safe. And so it's like, I think it's really ultimately to think like a son is to think like you're safe, to think like the way things are right now is okay. Even if the way things are sucks, like it's acceptance commitment therapy act. It's a model of therapy and it's about basically the premise is in a sense that like pain plus struggle equals suffering, and that if you can eliminate the struggle, suffering decreases by like 90%, because it's this idea that we suffer most because we wrestle constantly and struggle with our feelings and thoughts. So when we learn to just be like, I can actually, so it's not about getting rid of the thoughts and feelings. I can actually have these thoughts about worst case scenario feelings, not cultivate them, but they can come. Yeah. And it's like, I'm safe. They're not me, and I'm okay. And I'm safe because I have a Father who loves me.
Yeah. Well, it gets into the identity. Like, if you're not secure in your identity, which I feel like as men, it's a constant, like, you know, like what you said, if you feel like you're an orphan, then those thoughts and those, you know, those thoughts that you have that are attached to certain feelings will become your identity. Like, you need to latch. There's a constant, this is my kind of theory, but I feel like in humanity, there's a constant need to latch on to something that you can identify to. Mm-hmm. And if it's not God or if it's not Christ, it'll always be something else. Yeah. Like, it'll always be something else, you know? Mm-hmm. And a lot of the times that's driven by circumstantial feelings, circumstantial results. And I just feel like there's always a need to attach. Yeah. And it's a very easy temptation to attach to what's in front of you rather to like be patient and continually reorient and attach to God. You know?
Yeah. And I think that's been the daily struggle has been this like we were talking about, like the daily prayer of connecting and attaching to the Lord and what He's saying about me. Like starting my days with I've been trying to start my every day with gratitude. Trying to not go on my phone for like the first hour of the day. Arthur Brooks, he's a professor at Harvard, talks a lot about this. I try and go on a walk every morning without my phone and just like talk out loud with the Lord with gratitude and like thank Him for everything and like whatever it might be. And that's this thing that it compounds on itself. It's like maybe the first day you do it, like it might not feel like that big a deal, but if you start every day off of your phone thanking God for reality as it is right now, like before you know it, like you're gonna have this profound orientation of peace and gratitude towards things and towards others and towards reality. And so I've been trying to cultivate that every day, and then also just asking the Lord every day, like, Lord, what do you think about me? You know? Mm-hmm. And then I say, Lord, what do you want to tell me about yourself? And what do you want to tell me about me? Every morning. And I try and do that in prayer, just like, and then to listen, like actually listen. Like there's been times where I'm listening and like, He's like, you're going to see, like, I'm like, what do you want to tell me about myself? And I'm expecting some big identity thing. And He's like, He might give me the image of some random person in a certain outfit. Like, today you're going to see that person and I want you to talk to them. And I'm just like, all right. I thought we were going to talk about me today, but I guess but that's what He wanted to tell me about me. Like, that's what He wanted me to do. And so it's like, and then you see that person that day and you're like, oh shit. And then I gotta talk to them.
Oh my gosh.
You know? And so it's like, I think living this life wherein the Father's hand is actually moving and present, has just been like, just such a, like so good for me and like renewed me and my mind and my spirit so much. And like helped me a lot.
It's great advice, man. I think I needed to hear that, so thank you.
Yeah, of course.
Thank you for that. Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's definitely beautiful to be able to wake up like and not go on your phone for the first hour of the day. Yeah. It's hard. If it's me, man, I'm like getting on my phone, I'm like alarms off, I'm like checking emails, I'm like checking my texts, like trying to prepare for the day. Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So that's beautiful. Well, I'm kind of zonked. Bethany, how long have you been going?
About 2 hours.
You ready to call it?
Yeah, man.
Cool. We could keep talking all night, but I think people, if they're listening this long, are tired of my sniffles. So
yeah, for sure.
I appreciate you coming on, man. I mean, that second half was super profound and beautiful. I think we got to a lot of what I wanted to talk about. So
good. Yeah, thanks for having me on.
Yeah, man. Well, I would love to have you on like after you're done with your degree. Mm-hmm. And maybe just talk more into like the psychology and philosophy and theology. Yeah, get into that when you're more, attuned with all your studies and you're doing your master's at Franciscan as well. Yeah, mm-hmm. It's beautiful, man. Cool. Yeah. Well, thank you everyone for tuning in. Thank you, Marcello, again. It's been an honor to have you, man, and you're one of my closest buddies. And I appreciate you coming on. So,
of course, bro.
All right, everyone. Peace out. Look at that. dude. It's not even coming out.
It'll come out. You just gotta really, yeah.
Oh, that's so good.
He was looking at that dude. It's not even coming out.
That's so. No, the